Archangel Michael says, someone who is a snake in your family has finally been caught. Here is the name. Open it immediately. You have 15 seconds. They smiled in your face. And betrayed you. Listen closely, my beloved child, because this message will land like thunder inside your chest. The air around you has been heavy with secrets that smelled sweet until tonight. Now the veil is ripping and the truth will not be quiet any longer. You have felt the cold shadow of betrayal sliding across ordinary moments and tried to pretend it was merely a passing chill. Every laugh that once felt safe now carries a small, sharp edge that sits in your throat. Tonight that edge is sharpened into a blade of clarity that cuts through the lying calm. Archangel Michael says what hides in the smiles will be exposed by the trembling of small, honest things. The smallest slip, a forgotten message, a misnamed receipt, a reckless glance at a photo, will be the crack that lets light in. That light finds the truth and names the one who wore a friendly mask. They practiced kindness like a costume, folding it over cold intentions until the fabric looked and smelled like care. Each polite word was rehearsed, each embrace measured, each confession returned with a mirror of your own weakness. They learned to keep their hands clean while moving pieces behind your back. You have carried a quiet, persistent doubt and blamed it on your imagination because love asked you to believe. Love asked you to ignore the red flags and to say it was nothing for the sake of peace. That kindness became a chain around your freedom and the snake moved within it, patient and smiling. Tonight the chain loosens because truth has decided it cannot be contained any longer. People who hide behind hearth and family walls imagine themselves safe from the daylight of revelation. They forget how one small candle can chase a swarm of shadows into the open. Type Amen to get blessing 333. The name that will echo in your ears is not a shout to spread hate, but a key to reclaim your calm. It appears like a word peeled from memory, a syllable you taste again and recognize with a hollow stomach. When you see it, breathe slowly and let the recognition settle like a stone dropped into still water. Do not rush into thunderous actions that will only further tighten the knots around your heart. The part of you that wants instant justice will roar for a fire, but patience shapes the coming peace into something lasting. Begin by gathering small facts and watching how threads connect. Truth loves company and will reveal itself to those who look with steady eyes. They wore 1,000 little lies like ornaments so that when the time came people would remember only the shine. They called themselves helper, mediator, the one who kept the peace. In quiet rooms they moved confidential papers, misdirected messages, and rehearsed stories like an actor preparing a flawless scene. Archangel Michael says the justice that comes now is not mere punishment but a clear untying of the maze they built. Heaven is not pleased with those who twist family into a stage for deceit. The courts of conscience are opening and witnesses will appear in the smallest places. You will find the name in a place that seems mundane at first, a saved contact, an old receipt, an address book entry you forgot existed. It will sit there like a bruise that finally shows its color, impossible to ignore. When you trace it back, a pattern will form and the sun will slip under the stone they thought hid them. Hold your hands steady as you gather what you will need: dates, messages, proof of promises broken and signatures misplaced. Collect without rage and without theatrics because a calm list carries heavier weight than a shouted accusation. A carefully kept record will be the rope that anchors your truth. Type Amen to get blessing 444. Remember that the pain you feel now is a cleansing wind, not a storm that seeks to destroy you. It strips away worn illusions and leaves a clearer horizon for your steps. Grief shares space with courage when you choose to walk forward. You are not alone in this revelation. Little helpers come in silent forms, the neighbor who noticed odd comings and goings, an old friend who remembers a different version of events, a child who said something and then forgot. These quiet testimonies will build a chorus that clarifies the single voice of betrayal. Watch for those voices and listen without judging their timing. The snake in the family learned how to speak your language and to echo your words so that suspicion would fall like dust on someone else. They mirrored your grief, matched your joys, and kept a ledger of loyalty to use when the moment demanded. Their betrayal was not a single act but a crafted career of pretending. When the name comes, it will not come as a roar but as the soft drop of a match into dry grass. Flames happen quickly after the first spark, but the spark itself is small and simple. Do not be shocked by the ordinary way truth begins. It begins exactly where ordinary life has been compromised. Do not allow the reveal to become your identity. You are more than the hurt they caused. Let the revelation be a bridge to a new room in your life where safety is not a fragile thing you must plead for but a boundary you hold. Redefine the people around you by the light they choose to stand in. Type Amen to get blessing 555. There will be a moment when you read the name and the sound of it will rearrange memory like fragile glass moved and remade. Faces that seemed kind will click into new shapes, and every small oddity you once forgave will fall into a pattern you cannot unsee. That is the painful miracle of waking. You will see clearly and that clarity will guide you. Prepare for the reactions of others who will not be ready to accept the change because they love the picture you all pose together. Some will deny what they now see because admitting it feels like losing a safe room. Others will step back to watch, and a few will stand by you without blinking. Act with dignity when you speak the name, because dignity is a mirror that reflects strength, not malice. You may choose to speak privately to those who need to hear quietly, or you may choose to let systems designed for justice take their pace. Either way, protect your peace as you move through the necessary steps. There will be practical things to do: lock files, save screenshots, secure accounts, change passwords, and notify those whose names were used as cover. Do these things in a steady rhythm. Small practical acts knit the fabric of safety back together. Your calm, methodical hands will be more powerful than any loud accusation. Type Amen to get blessing 666. Forgiveness is not your immediate duty, survival and clarity are. If one day forgiveness finds its place, it will be because you chose it from a rebuilt and unassailable center, not because you were coaxed into mercy by those who harmed you. Let time be the teacher and your boundaries the curriculum. If the snake shows remorse, test that remorse by time and changed behavior rather than promises and tearful explanations. Many who betray know how to apologize, but apology without transformation is simply a new performance. Insist on proof drawn from changed patterns, not soliloquies. Protect the vulnerable around you who may not understand why the household shifted its weather. Children, elderly relatives, and those who depend on daily routines must be given care and clear, age-appropriate explanations. Your leadership in this will be a balm, not an added burden. Type Amen to get blessing 777. Do not let vengeance seduce you into becoming what they were. That would extend the chain and pass harm to others. Your power in this moment is the capacity to choose a different path. Use that power to dismantle the scheme, not to replicate cruelty. Speak the name only where it is needed and in ways that serve repair. Naming in public without purpose can drag you into unnecessary conflict and can echo into corners that complicate justice. Use truth like medicine, precise, proportionate, and administered to heal the wound. As the truth unravels, allies will step forward who once sat silently on the sidelines. People value courage, and seeing you act will awaken those who feared the consequences. Do not be surprised when witnesses remember details they had buried. Truth loosens lips when it is finally safe to speak. Type Amen to get blessing 888. Hold a small space of time for your own healing rituals that are not performative. Light a candle, write the name on paper and then fold it into a safe burning, or place a stone on it and bury it as a symbol of release. These acts are for you to anchor the transition from confusion to clarity. Allow yourself to mourn what you thought you had and to celebrate that your eyes now see sharper. Both grief and relief may arrive in the same hour. Let them coexist without forcing one to vanish before the other has had its say. Life remakes itself in the wake of truth, and you will build something new from solid, honest pieces. Remember to check your own heart for places where denial wanted to live because denial felt easier. Be honest with yourself about the ways you enabled the mask to stay in place so you can avoid repeating the same pattern. Self-awareness is not blame, it is the greatest tool you carry forward. Type Amen to get blessing 999. In the days that follow, people will ask why you did not see sooner and will offer advice that sounds like accusation. Hold your silence when it is noise and speak when it matters. You do not owe the world a timeline for your awakening. There will be moments of fear and moments of fierce relief, and they will come irregularly like tides. Anchor yourself to steady routines, to friends who are rooted, and to the rituals that remind you of who you are beyond this event. Your daily small truths will rebuild your world. When the name finally settles into the records you keep, it will be a tool, neither a weapon for hatred nor a relic to hide. Use it to protect, to warn, and to ensure that what was broken cannot be easily rebuilt into harm. The name is a map to the place where change must be made. Type Amen to get blessing 111. Keep faith in the fact that the universe has a way of balancing what has been tipped. Balance does not mean everything will return to the way it was, it means new equilibrium will emerge that serves truth and safety. That rebalancing is messy but necessary. You will discover reserves of strength you did not know you had because the heat of this moment forges a new steel inside you. Trust that inner strength to keep you steady when storms come and to guide your hands when careful actions must be taken. Courage grows in the exact soil where fear was uprooted. There is a community of light that watches over those who choose clarity, and you are not alone in this. Invisible hands guide practical steps and visible allies appear to support you in small, essential ways. Accept help when it arrives and be gentle with those who offer it. Type Amen to get blessing 222. Finally, when you speak the name aloud, do so with a voice that carries calm and purpose. Let each syllable be a marker, a memorial to what you will no longer allow in your life. Speak it with the authority of someone who has recovered their right to safety. This moment is a turning point, not an end, and your choices from now will chart a new path for the family and for yourself. Stand in the light you have earned and do not allow the shadow to claim you back. You have been brave, keep that bravery steady and kind. Super thanks for staying with this message and for choosing to walk toward truth and healing. If you found this meaningful, consider supporting the channel with a super thanks. Every small support helps bring more messages of clarity and comfort. Archangel Michael says the revelation is not finished yet. The curtain is still lifting, and what is about to be shown will strike even deeper into your heart. The snake has been exposed, but the story of how they moved in silence is still unfolding before your very eyes. They did not act alone, whispers traveled through corners, spreading like smoke to feed their hidden fire. Every smile they offered you was practiced in the mirror, sharpened with intention, and polished until it looked safe. They never imagined that heaven itself would record every move and place it back into your hands. Now the betrayal is not just a suspicion, it has taken form, a face you know too well, a voice that used to soothe but carried poison underneath. You must remember that exposure is not destruction, it is liberation. The light is cruel only to the lie, never to the truth. Hold on, because more pieces are falling into place, and the bigger picture is forming. This is why your spirit has been restless, why your nights carried strange heaviness, why your instincts whispered. The name that comes will connect everything you once dismissed as coincidence. Type Amen to get blessing 121. The snake used trust as a shield, thinking you would never doubt them. But trust, when abused, becomes the very rope that hangs the deceiver. Heaven has turned that rope into evidence that cannot be denied. You will begin to notice how conversations from the past echo differently now. Words that seemed harmless back then will suddenly ring with double meaning. Every "I'm here for you" was secretly coded with "I'm working against you." Do not waste time asking why they did it, because some hearts are so twisted that betrayal becomes their nature. What matters is that you survived every plot they built, even without knowing it. Your survival itself is proof of your divine protection. The betrayal they planned against you was meant to ruin you, but now it has returned like a wave crashing back upon them. Their smile has cracked, and the mask is falling in front of everyone. Soon, no one will be able to deny the truth any longer. Type Amen to get blessing 232. They are unraveling in ways they never imagined, their careful rehearsals exposed in the plain light of ordinary days. Small truths slip from people who never meant to be witnesses, and those slips stitch a pattern that can no longer be denied. Each tiny revelation piles up until the whole lie collapses under its own weight. You will notice the way messages line up, the odd timings and the half-sent sentences that suddenly make sense when placed side by side. Paper trails will appear where once there was only polite conversation, and receipts will show the map of their secret movements. Once you begin to trace these lines, the picture will form with cruel precision. People who once smiled politely at family gatherings now shift their gaze when certain names are mentioned, and silence itself becomes a witness that speaks volumes. That silence will be broken by those who cannot carry the weight of the false story any longer. Their words will be small, honest, and devastating in their simplicity. Keep your hands steady and your voice measured as you gather what comes. There is power in composure and danger in spectacle, and the work you do now will define the peace you reclaim. Let facts, not fury, be the instruments of your return to safety. Type Amen to get blessing 131. Old alliances that felt unbreakable will show the cracks that were always there, hidden beneath laughter and holiday gatherings. You will remember moments that once seemed trivial and now reveal themselves as quiet betrayals in slow motion. Memory becomes a detective, and it will lead you gently but inexorably toward truth. Guard the vulnerable around you while the storm passes, because those who did not know will be frightened by the change in the air. Speak kindly to those who are confused and give space to those who grieve the loss of an illusion. Your calm will be the anchor that keeps small hearts from being swept away. There will be allies you did not expect, people whose loyalty is quiet but firm, who step forward with documents and dates and small corroborations. These allies will remind you that truth has a way of collecting helpers like drops of rain joining into a stream. Accept their presence without suspicion. Courage breeds courage. When you speak the truth, speak it with the authority of someone who has already done the work of gathering proof. Let your delivery be clean and unembellished so that it cannot be mistaken for spectacle. The steadiness of your telling will make the revelation unassailable. Type Amen to get blessing 242. The betrayer will try to find shelter in the chaos they created by sowing doubt among those they hoped would defend them. Their first instinct will be to smear, to distract, to call your motives into question. Do not fall into their trap, because noise is their ally and silence is your power. Record everything that matters in the quiet hours, and store those records where they cannot be reached by hurried hands. Back up what you find, timestamp what you can, and let your documentation be the clear spine of the story you will tell. Systems value order, and order will outlast any hurried excuse. There will be moments when you feel the weight of loneliness as old friends waver between loyalty and fear, but those pauses are not permanent verdicts. Time clarifies motives as daylight purifies the morning. Those who stand by you will eventually be seen in the truest light. Hold to rituals that restore your center, tiny acts that remind you of who you are beyond the betrayal. Make tea at the same hour, walk the same street, sleep with windows open to the steady world outside. These small regularities stitch your heart back together when the larger world tilts. Type Amen to get blessing 353. Do not mistake exposure for vengeance, because exposing the truth is a step toward protection, not a spectacle meant to humiliate. Your aim is repair and safety, to ensure that deceit cannot be recycled into new harm. When you act with this intention, you preserve your dignity and strengthen the shield around those you love. There will be a reckoning of sorts, but it may be slow and bureaucratic, and that slowness will try your patience. Use that time to build your case, to gather witnesses and records, and to let the mechanisms of accountability do their work. Patience here is a form of tactical strength, not passivity. When the name finally settles into the places it needs to be, in files, in statements, in the careful notes of those who will help, it will stop being a secret and become a tool for protection. That transformation changes the energy of the household and reroutes danger into safety. Names and records save others from the same fate. Let your compass be care, for yourself, for the children, for elders, and for anyone whose life intersects with this betrayal. Care that is fierce and methodical cuts off the avenues of harm and replants the ground in ways that last. Your tenderness will be the architecture of the new life you build. Type Amen to get blessing 464. Stand firm in the ordinary acts of goodness even as extraordinary things fall away. Feed those who are frightened, answer the calls of the small and the frightened, and tend to the daily tasks that prove life continues. Everyday mercy binds communities more than any speech. In time you will see the difference between those who defended a face and those who defended a truth, and that distinction will feel like a doorway opening. Walk through it with the steady step of someone who has learned an important lesson about vigilance and love. Your future will be quieter, truer, and safer because of the work you chose. Keep a private ledger of what you discover and of how people respond, not as a weapon but as a map for choices to come. Maps guide journeys, they do not demand war. Use that map to protect boundaries, to inform authorities if needed, and to keep a record that prevents repetition. When the household breathes again, let it be with rules that keep deception at bay. Clear accounts, open conversations, and boundaries that everyone knows and follows. Structures heal as much as apologies, and a well-built structure is the best long-term remedy for betrayal. Type Amen to get blessing 575. The storm inside your family is not just about one name, one act, or one moment. It is about years of threads woven in the dark finally being pulled loose. As those threads unravel, the hidden knots become visible, and every secret connection stands exposed in the open air. Do not be startled when the betrayals multiply as if one truth dragged others into daylight. This is the way lies collapse, they fall in chains, pulling each other down. What began as suspicion of one person soon widens into a map of silence, whispers, and complicit nods. You will recognize how small actions you overlooked were signals of larger intentions. The sudden defensiveness when asked simple questions, the eagerness to distract with humor, the way they avoided certain topics. These were the crumbs that now form a trail straight to their hidden heart. This unraveling is painful, but it is also the cleansing of poison from a wound that was festering for far too long. It hurts as it exits, but the body is stronger once it is gone. The light is harsh, but it restores life where darkness once suffocated. Type Amen to get blessing 686. The betrayer's mask is not only falling in your eyes but in the eyes of others who once defended them. Friends, neighbors, and relatives who once believed their charm are beginning to see the cracks. They can no longer deny what has been whispered by heaven into your spirit. There will be resistance, they will try to cling to the fragments of their false image, begging, crying, or pretending innocence. Do not be fooled by the theater of desperation. Remorse without change is nothing more than another performance. You must stay steady, because weakness in this moment would only invite another cycle of pain. They will test your boundaries, pressing to see if you will bend. But firmness now is the guardrail that protects your future from falling back into the same trap. Archangel Michael says, "Strength is your shield in this hour." Heaven does not want you to return to the chains you just broke. The same hand that revealed the snake will also give you the courage to walk away. Type Amen to get blessing 797. The exposure will reach beyond whispers, documents, conversations, and undeniable evidence will speak. A phone record, a hidden account, a misplaced receipt will be the final proof. When these surface, even those who wanted to defend the snake will step back in silence. Do not allow anger to devour you when this happens. Justice is best carried out with calm hands. The louder they scream, the quieter you must become, for silence will amplify the truth louder than any shouting match. This is the moment where control shifts from them to you. Once, they controlled the story with smiles and deception. Now, you control the story with truth and evidence. The snake thought time would protect them, but time has turned into their greatest enemy. Every hidden lie aged into weakness, every false promise hardened into proof. And now those proofs are landing on your table one by one. Type Amen to get blessing 808. The weight of betrayal might tempt you to retreat into bitterness, but bitterness is a poison that will only hurt you further. Instead, choose clarity, choose wisdom, and choose to rebuild stronger. You are not what they did to you, you are what you do next. Do not rush to expose everything at once. Move like water, flowing steadily, carving rock with patience. The snake is already trapped in their own web, you need only to watch it collapse. Others in the family may approach you quietly, admitting that they too suspected something was wrong. Accept their words without bitterness, for many were too afraid to speak earlier. Fear silenced them, but truth gives them a chance to join you now. Your role is not to destroy the entire household but to protect it from further poison. Once the snake is named and contained, life can begin to breathe again. Trust that heaven will guide the healing once the truth is known. Type Amen to get blessing 919. The house will begin to breathe differently as truth moves through its rooms, a slow, steady exhale that clears the stale air of falsehood. Everyday objects will carry new meanings and ordinary sounds will feel like evidence falling into place. In that changed atmosphere, you will notice how small mercies now matter more than grand explanations. Neighbors who once pretended not to see will find excuses to speak, bringing details that stitch the story tighter and truer. Those details arrive like threads from different looms, and when woven together they make a fabric too heavy for denial. Your role is to hold that fabric up and let everyone see the pattern without drama or distortion. Quiet courage will become your habit, a repeated act of showing up and doing the necessary small things that protect you and those you love. These quiet acts, locking accounts, saving messages, backing up proof, are the scaffolding of a new life that no longer trembles at a smile. Each act of care rebuilds trust in the world in a practical, steady way. As the pattern becomes visible, some will scramble to explain themselves, offering rehearsed stories meant to soften the blow. Their words will be full of theatrical regret without the steady actions that prove change. Watch for actions that match words, and let those actions be the only measure you accept. Type Amen to get blessing 020. There will be moments when an old photograph or a casual text brings a fresh shiver of understanding, and you will learn to welcome that shiver as a guide rather than a wound. Memory will become a tool, sharpened by new context to cut away what was false. Use that tool with care and precision. Do not allow the noise of gossip to steer you from the path of careful repair. Gossip mutters with half-truths and clear intent to inflame, your steadiness will blunt its edges. Let verification be your answer to every rumor and your silence the shield that prevents escalation. Those who stayed silent out of fear will require time to adjust as well, some will come forward slowly, ashamed but sincere. Offer them the dignity of a listening ear if their change is real, and hold firm boundaries if it is not. Mercy belongs to those who have rebuilt themselves through visible, consistent transformation. When the household slows its panic and begins practical fixes, insist on transparency. Shared accounts shown, clear ledgers kept, and boundaries that everyone agrees to follow. Structures like these remove opportunities for future deceit and make daily life safer for the vulnerable. Building structure is an act of love as much as it is an act of defense. Type Amen to get blessing 131. You will discover allies in unlikely places, a cousin who kept a ledger, a distant aunt who remembers a conversation, a child who overheard and tucked the memory away. Their small, honest testimonies will be less dramatic than you imagine but more powerful because they are true. Gather them gently and let them stand as witnesses to what actually happened. There will be legal and practical matters that must be addressed with professionals. Use skillful counsel rather than heated declarations. The right advisors will translate your collected facts into steps that secure peace and prevent repetition. Their presence will turn chaos into procedure and emotion into strategy. Even as you act, Carve out spaces for ordinary joys and tiny celebrations that remind you life continues beyond betrayal. Cook a familiar meal, play a song that steadies your breath, let a child's laughter re-anchor the day. These small joys are not denial, they are the roots from which healing grows. Do not forget to guard your inner life, sleep, simple prayer, or solitary walks that keep your center steady. Strengthened from within, you will be capable of both fierce protection and measured mercy. That inner life is the true fortress that no deceiver can breach. Type Amen to get blessing 242. When the full map of deceit is finally displayed, let your telling be the end of the story you needed to live, not the beginning of a new campaign of revenge. Naming the harm is a defensive act that secures boundaries, it does not require you to become what you name. Hold that distinction like a compass. There will be offers to reconcile that sound quick and easy. Test those offers by time and by changed behavior. Forgiveness is a gift you may give someday, but only from a place where safety is restored and the possibility of repeat harm is removed. Hold off on premature reconciliation so you do not trade safety for a soothing word. Children and elders will watch your response closely, learning how to act when trust is broken. Model calm, measured courage so the next generation learns that truth matters more than appearances. Your actions now will become a lesson that protects them later. In the slow days after exposure, tend to rituals that mark the turning point, write, burn, plant, or carve symbols of release so the mind has visible acts to name the change. These small ceremonies are private anchors that help memory move from bewilderment to purpose. Through those acts you will reclaim the quiet corners of your life. Type Amen to get blessing 353. The weight of revelation grows lighter the more you allow truth to settle into your bones. At first it feels unbearable, like carrying fire in your chest, but slowly the flames transform into light that guides your steps. You begin to realize that what was once hidden no longer has the power to haunt you. Every day, another piece of clarity falls into place. A slip of the tongue, an old email, a detail remembered by someone outside the circle, all of it confirms what heaven has already shown you. The snake cannot run from the net of truth because it was woven long before they realized it. Their laughter, once so loud, now sounds hollow even to themselves. They feel the walls closing in, every excuse crumbling, every mask cracking. The stage they built for themselves is collapsing beneath their feet. Archangel Michael says the hour of exposure is not meant to break you but to free you. This is your moment to stand taller, to let the light surround you, and to take back the peace they tried to steal. The justice of heaven never misses its mark. Type Amen to get blessing 464. The betrayer's desperation will grow louder as silence closes around them. They will try to convince others that you are mistaken, twisting the story until it sounds almost believable. But the truth will always outshine the noise, and their words will betray them in time. Watch how people who once blindly defended them begin to shift. Doubt creeps into their voices, and hesitation clouds their eyes. This is how the power of deception dies, not with a bang, but with a slow unraveling. Your task is not to argue but to remain steady. The calmer you stand, the more foolish their panic will appear. Let them destroy their own disguise with every frantic attempt to explain. Hold on to your documents, your records, your gathered facts. They are your sword and shield, sharper than any insult and stronger than any plea. In truth, you already hold victory in your hands. Type Amen to get blessing 575. Do not forget to protect your energy in this process. The snake thrived on draining you, keeping you distracted and weak. Now is the time to nourish yourself, to rebuild the strength that betrayal tried to steal. Eat well, rest deeply, and let peace return to your body in waves. Simple acts of self-care are not small, they are divine acts of defiance against what was meant to destroy you. Every breath of calm you take is proof that you are rising above. The snake never expected you to survive their schemes, let alone thrive beyond them. Your endurance has shocked them more than any evidence. You were supposed to be broken, yet here you are, stronger than before. Those who once doubted you will soon look at you differently. They will see not just the victim of betrayal but the survivor who stood in the fire and walked out unburned. That strength is your crown now. Type Amen to get blessing 686. The snake's downfall will not come only from your actions but from the weight of their own deeds. Lies are heavy, and they can only carry them for so long before they collapse. That collapse is already beginning, piece by piece. You will hear whispers of their mistake spreading among those they thought were loyal. The very network they built to protect themselves will turn against them. Deception devours itself when light is applied long enough. Do not let pity draw you back into their trap. Compassion is noble, but unguarded compassion for a deceiver is dangerous. Protect your mercy for those who deserve it, not for the one who poisoned trust. Archangel Michael says your journey forward will be smoother once this snake is fully removed. The poison has been identified, and now the cure is in progress. Trust that the ending is already written and it favors you. Type Amen to get blessing 797.